Good morning, role players, new and old. If you're new, thank you so much for coming and checking us out. And if you're old, welcome back. Today I have Meghan from $2 Creature Feature, another podcast that I love to death. You might have heard me talk about Miss Laura and talk with Miss Laura, and you might have heard me talk with Mr. Ray a while back ago. And I'm just so thrilled to get to talk with them. And I think you're going to really like listening to the conversation we got to have. Really quick notice, next week, it's holiday week. I will not have an episode out on Thursday, and instead I will have an episode out that following Monday, and I'm going to start having episodes out on Mondays. The reason for this is because Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday I normally work 12-hour shifts at the local factory. So with that said, I'm going to start moving it to Monday, because that way I can kind of keep track of what's going on when I release these, because sometimes things happen when you release an episode and you don't really get a chance to get to it until all things are all said and done. So moving to Mondays, hooray. Anyways, I don't have a lot, so let's go ahead and get them in. How are you doing today, Megan?
I'm doing fine. And yourself?
I'm still trying to drink this delicious cup of coffee, which is really good, but I'm drinking it very slowly because I don't want it to go away.
I got you. I like this experience. I do not wish it to end.
Yeah, it's the same way I feel about sandwiches, because I love sandwiches. Megan, I love sandwiches so much, but once my sandwich is gone, I'm very sad because I shouldn't have another, but I really want another sandwich.
Well, I think I understand some of that, because my favorite part of Thanksgiving is that day after, where I make my Thanksgiving sandwich.
Oh, Thanksgiving sandwich. That's coming up really soon.
Yeah, like all of the work for making the turkey and the sides is all for the sandwich afterwards. Maybe even 2 sandwiches if there's enough left.
Oh, you're right, with like some cranberry on the side.
Oh. Yeah.
Sorry, this is not what this podcast is about, but here we are.
We're going to talk an hour and 15 minutes about Thanksgiving sandwiches.
We could. I fucking, excuse my language, love a good Thanksgiving sandwich.
It is better than the meal itself. I'll say it.
You know what? And I agree. I absolutely agree.
It's fine. I'll eat the meal. I'm not upset at Thanksgiving, but really I'm planning for later. Once I sleep and that food's gone, then the real fun begins.
Yeah, it's so awesome to get to talk to you. I have been just like I don't know if Laura told you, I gush so much when Laura is on. I'm gonna gush so much when Naya is on. And I lost my mind when I got to talk to Mr. Ray. I am so happy to get to speak with you.
It's lovely. I'll take it. I'll take praise. That's cool.
You guys are fantastic. I'll give it to you. You guys are fantastic. Quite literally, I remember, because I had to, and I told Laura about this a little bit, where I stopped doing the podcast stuff for a little while because I had to get my life situated and figure it out, and I honestly didn't know if I was going to be able to come back to the podcasting world. But I stumbled upon y'all's podcast, and I said, you know what? I am going to come back, and I'm going to do my best to get these people on my show. And if I can do just that, I know that I will just be happy with the experience. And here you guys are.
Podcast blush.
Podcasting is awesome, and it's I love podcasting, but I love role playing more. And the reason why I'm even doing a podcast in the first place is because I just want to talk to other role players.
Nice.
And do my best to help them out in the wide world, because there's so many people out there doing podcasting, and there's so many people out there doing actual plays, and I just want to do my best to help them in some form or fashion. So here I am.
I love that. Yeah. It's a good problem to have. Oh no, there's too many people out there doing like actual plays and podcasts.
I know. How will I ever talk to every single one of them?
Well, one at a time.
One at a time. Yeah. 1 week at a time, and I'll get through all of them eventually. But besides me being a nerd and gushing about the fact that I get to speak with you, how did you get into role playing? Because role playing is just such a weird hobby, and everyone's story is so interesting on how they get into it. So would you mind letting me know about that?
Oh, sure. I guess mine comes in parts in that I was the lonely child who really wanted to play D&D and like read through the books but didn't have a group, right? So I remember looking through the books, and I remember also like there's parts I understood, but there's parts that I was never going to get until I played it. So it was
Uh-huh.
always like this alluring mystery, like oh my god, I could create a character and everything.
Mhm, mhm,
So like later on in maybe late 20s, early 30s, I got a couple kind of little like local groups, right?
mhm.
But like that, I think I realized that was interesting, but like they neither of them were into like role playing.
Right,
It was more kind of and fair enough, more like roll the dice and play it a bit more like a board game, and that's
right,
not wrong. That's just a different way. So
right.
I'd almost kind of resigned myself to going like I'll never have that experience, and that was about the time where there were like actual plays starting to be shown,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
little bits here, little bits there of like, oh my god, look at people playing and they're just like acting it out. Oh my god, gosh, I wish. Like I was watching LA by Night, and I was like, oh my god, vampire looks so fun, and they're all acting and everything. That'll
Mhm.
never be me. And and then oddly enough, so B. Dave Walters, who is
Mm,
on LA by Night, um
mhm.
started offering these like one shots that he would run, and for a very like reasonable price. And I was like, well, crap, I'm super nervous and anxious about this, but I have to try. I have to at
Mhm.
least once kind of like I'm gonna get to play a vampire, and I'm gonna get to role play, and if I suck at it, at least I'll know. and
Right.
and and as like that time came up, as like I signed up, and I got a date and stuff. I got so anxious. I was like, okay, worst case scenario, Megan, you're going to turn off your computer, message them that you had tech problems, and it's fine. Like I had an escape plan, because like I almost felt
Uh,
like puking, because I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And instead it was just like really like just all of a sudden I was like, oh my god, this is scratching an itch I didn't know I had,
uh-huh.
right? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, if this is all I ever do, I got to do it once. Holy crap, that's amazing. But then two things kind of like forked off from that, like that one session.
Uh-huh.
One was that B Dave had started like a Discord and a Patreon where you could get live games a certain amount of months, and you got to just we did a lot of play by type,
Uh-huh.
and I learned so much from those folks. And a lot of those folks who are on that Discord have gone off now, made their own channels and their own games, and I've been in some of those. So I learned and kind of immersed myself and got to have some like amazing high level like live game experience. And I think that
Mhm.
actually that built up my confidence too, right?
Right.
And then the other thing, and so weird, because I thought I did fine in the first session. Like I didn't know what I was doing, but it must have been something, because one of the other players, Chris, who's also known as the Primogen on YouTube and online, he
Mhm.
was there too, and he was just about to start a Changeling the Lost actual play on the Onyx Path
Mhm.
Twitch channel, and
Mhm.
he asked me to be a part of it. I was like, me? Oh, okay. And it was there that I learned how to be in a streaming game. Like
Mhm.
if you look at the first episode, and we got to actually, oh my god, my first experience was actually a full story, which is now I know incredibly lucky. We got
Right.
to tell a whole story in like a year. I got to learn yeah, just tech streaming, how to I need to set up. Also like how do I um stay in character yet keep looking at my sheet, strategize, listen while someone else is playing, interact with chat. Like that I all learned during that first
Mhm.
Changing the Lost game, and that's amazing. So it's a lot of that. I'm gonna have to thank B Dave, because I think if I had had a different entrance to like role playing and actual play,
Mhm.
because I feel like I'm a little tender at first. Like I was so sure I was bad at it. If I
Mhm.
hadn't had that support and that like confidence building, I don't think I'd be here. I had an amazing like entrance into it. And then after that, it was off to the races. Now I know all these people who are doing projects, and here I am now. Can't stop me.
Yeah, it sounds like you went from like having no experience to role playing to just going full 100 like immediately.
Oh yeah, those first two, like and I think that actually worked for me, because I had to like once I got that taste, I was like, oh no, this is good. I like this.
I
I want to be better at it, and I want
I
to do it
gotta keep
more.
I gotta
Yeah,
keep doing this. No matter
yeah,
what, I have to keep
yeah,
doing
yeah.
this.
But a lot of it was also just inspiration from other people. I'm like, oh my God, they do that so well. Or, oh my God, that's such a great way to like play something or to build a character. It was just inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And it was just at that right time where, again, there's this explosion of like actual plays and podcasts. So it's almost like if you want to be on something, you can find something. You just got to find the right,
Mm-hmm.
the right style and connection. That's a whole other conversation, you know?
Oh goodness gracious, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what is your actually? So that's a pretty cool segue into like another question. Like, What is your favorite style of role play?
I got you. Okay. Well, I myself am not a particularly crunchy player.
Uh huh.
Like you throw a lot of math at me, I'm like, oh no, either I need roll 20 to do this math for me,
For
or I
me,
need and also I've had really great friends. Like I really enjoy Pathfinder. But like some higher level, I'm like, hi, I rolled some dice, but I don't know what to add and subtract. Please help.
yes.
But yeah.
Right now, my friends are trying their best to get me to learn Warhammer 40K.
Mm,
Like, I was up until I go to bed very early. I go to bed around 9 o'clock my
mm,
time, right? So I could wake up at 5 o'clock my time and get myself prepared for the day.
yeah.
I was up until almost midnight last night.
Oh.
Just my friends
Yeah.
trying to teach me how to play Warhammer 40K. And it is so crunchy. They're doing their best.
Yeah.
They're trying so hard. And I'm just like, guys, I don't know. Tonight we're supposed to do it again. Like they're supposed to keep trying to teach me tonight. And I'm so afraid that I'm gonna have to just be like, guys, you're gonna have to just tell me what to do all over again, please.
Yeah.
Pretty please.
Like I get it. I'm so glad that there are crunchy players out there and that there are min maxers out there. That's great. There's some of my friends are
Hmm.
thus. But
Yeah.
I just know that like in the end, I want to be having fun and I want to enjoy. And I'm much more a role play heavy person, right?
Hmm.
So a lot of it just like so finding that way. Like yeah, I can play Pathfinder. I just have to find people who don't mind me like asking for like the 100th time. Okay, so then is this a bonus? Or literally, I have a friend who will go into roll 20 and change my sheet for me, so it'll do it. Thank
Oh,
God.
thank goodness,
Yeah,
right?
but I always feel like there is a path to play any game you want to. It's just you gotta, you find the right people and the right game who understand that. But yeah,
Yeah.
but like for me, yeah, I like, and this is part of the reason why I like Monster of the Week so much. And that style is there's just enough structure. You got 5 stats, you got a couple moves that you can then like level up, but it's just enough structure to be like, okay, this is my shape, this is my skeleton, and then I get to go nuts building the rest of the character and playing them however I want them to be, because
Hmm.
that's where my interest is how do I take the skeleton and what's my version of this character, this like the class, or like in Vampire the clan,
Hmm.
like that thing, like what's my version of, how do I animate the skeleton?
Oh, speaking of animating skeletons and your character, your play on Zelda is just phenomenal. Ah, God, I could like I know I've been gushing and I'm so sorry, listeners. I know I gushed during Ray's episode. I know I gushed during Laura's episode, but I'm gonna have to do it here too. I can listen to you guys all day. You guys are so much fun to listen to, and your portrayal of Zelda just spot on. I fucking love it.
Oh, thank you. Like I feel like if I'm playing a character long term, I
Hmm.
have to find like what's my take on this,
Hmm.
like so I read the Flake playbook and I get it, and I was like, okay, I kind of see like the basic Flake and I love it, but I have to like, how do I make this my own? And it took some thinking, and I think once I realized, oh my God, she's from a family of chosen ones,
Hmm.
that kind of unlocked Zelda for me. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Hmm.
she's just trying to prove herself so hard. So that's like the core, not the playbook,
Uh-huh.
but like what's her basic, like what does she want to do? What does she need to do during the story? And then use the playbook as like, well, this is how she'd go about it because this is like her mental map, you know? So it's, oh
Hmm.
God, it was fun. Of course I had to go Flake. I looked through the rest of the playbook. Oh no, I will absolutely be a Flake.
I don't. Yeah. No. It's wonderful. You did such a good job.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I feel like once it takes a couple episodes, but oh my God, so like Laura and Nine Ray are just so talented too,
Hmm.
that like it was so easy to kind of finish finding Zelda as we told the story.
Hmm.
I would say usually, like again, long term, I'll come in with like half to 3/4 of a character because the rest is going to be interaction. Because again, I'm very role play based.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so the rest of the story I won't know until I bounce my character off the other characters. How do I navigate the world and the characters we've built, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And that's joy. I love that. Like that's my favorite part is like I found stuff about Zelda I did not plan. I didn't know Zelda would do that until we were there. I didn't know Zelda would become kind of a tank. That was not the
Hmm.
plan. And yet that's how she evolved and it was a lovely like, "Oh my god, Zelda, you surprised me."
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about role playing is that like it is a journey of discovery through a narrative process between
Mm,
you and other people, and you can like everything can surprise you. You can
yeah.
surprise yourself with your own character. And I think that is just so. I think that's like one of my favorite things about
Oh yeah.
role playing.
Oh yeah. I did a couple years ago a Boston by Night Vampire Masquerade,
Hmm.
Vampire the Masquerade game, also through Onyx Path. And of course, I had to again find my own way. I was playing a Toreador, but instead of the kind of cool, collected, passionate, I'm so hot vamp Toreador, I played she has some self-esteem issues and like she doesn't like the right stuff. She liked all like mid-century plastic design and not like opera and
Hmm.
Italian Renaissance. And
Yeah.
I was so surprised as we're playing her through because we're playing kind of like younger vampires who, you know, didn't really have a whole lot of power in the beginning, and how by the end of the story they're all kind of thrust into positions of power. And it was fun finding her like ability to be like, no, but I know how to do this. I just do it different. A little Zelda-y there, but also like I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't bounced it off the other characters and their ambitions and desires. And I'm like, how would my character navigate this? She spent most of her time just trying not to be seen, and now she has to, you know? Like what a
Right.
great mystery to solve during a season, you know?
Yeah. Um. What has been your what is to kind of like go off on a separate tangent?
I,
What has been your favorite system so far?
oh, Oh, see, that's a tough one because I've been so lucky, and also partly just I want to try all these different systems and
Uh
stuff.
huh.
So I guess I started with Vampire, so
Right.
that'll always have a place in my heart. And of course, there's so many different ways to play it too. So like when I say Vampire, I mean the way I've played it. I like to have a little hope in my Vampire, which is probably odd for other people. So and then that I played a little werewolf. I've played some mage, which even though I've played maybe 2 to 3 full games of it, I still don't totally understand, but that's fine. That's role playing.
Right.
It's a complex system. That book could break your toe if it fell on your toe. But that's okay. You go in. I've played Call of Cthulhu is kind of fun. Again, depending on how you play it.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've let's see. I definitely like Pathfinder, even though I don't think I'm good at it, and I've played it for years. I like all the choices you have. Like when I feel like doing like a high fantasy story,
Hmm.
I think that's fantastic. And of course, I love Monster of the Week. I love Kids on Bikes. I think
Oh, I
those
love
are
Kid on Bikes.
beautiful
Yeah.
systems. Yeah, I just did one season of Kids on Bikes campaign called Kernels of Mystery because we're in a town that has cornfields you don't go in, and we're gonna start recording the second season. So that's fun energy. And again, that's another kind of like system light thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I've also played a Good Society, which is like a Jane Austen based
What What is it called?
RPG.
What is it called?
It's called Good Society.
Oh, my friend just sent me that link not too long ago.
Yeah, that's super fun. And I played a particular version of it where the storyteller Anne changes it up so it's like, okay, but we're not playing like historical Regency. Guess what? Women can own uh property here. And
Hmm.
trans and non-binary folk exist because like that's what so many of us were playing. Queer
Hmm.
people exist in this world, but also it's still like gossip and power. It's like all the fun stuff.
Stuff. Yeah. Without
Oh yeah. Yeah.
without all the shitty
Yeah.
shitty aspects.
Yeah. So it's so fun. And I might have had a character who literally threw a punch at a party at the end. So I play it differently. It's fine. It was great. And then I love like one shots. Like, I love a good honey heist or trash pandas. And I love trash pails, which is something I've played in and run. In fact,
What
I
is it?
think we
What is
have
it
one
now?
up on the $2 creature feature Patreon. Trash pails.
Trash pails? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's great. It's by Goth Hoblin, and everyone picks an basically like a trash animal to play: a raccoon, a possum, a pigeon, a stray cat, and
Oh,
the entire game is trying to get all the best trash during the night. And you kind of roll for trash, and you roll for where you're looking, and you can actually switch off GM if you want. Each person can take a chunk of like, hey, where we're going next. Yeah, like the possum's power is scream.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm looking this up right now.
Yeah, that I really love that, and that's a game that you can just really just jump into. It doesn't take a whole lot of planning, and then find the right group of people, and you're just gonna have a beautiful garbage night.
Oh my god, I fucking love this so much. Oh man, listen. I would be the fattest pigeon or the fattest raccoon.
What I ran one on Girls Run These Worlds, and Ray was a part of it, and he played a pigeon. It was fantastic. He had a was it a seagull that he had his nemesis? he brought that in because of course.
That's great.
Yeah,
oh my
so that
goodness.
was so that's a super fun. You have some role players who just want to just dig in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that game. Yeah, I do love. I'm a big one-shot fan because it's just a game that you can just pick up instantly, explain in like 10 minutes and then just go. That's super lovely.
I'm the same way. I'm a big fan of just being able to like sit down and like play a quick game with some friends and then laugh about it for years to come.
Yeah, and I've played Fate a few times, which is very flexible. Here's the only way I've played it though. We did a series where we were all cats in a cat cafe.
Cats in a cat cafe? Is this okay? This is Trash Pail still?
Oh no, this was using Fate.
Fate, okay.
Yeah. And this is called The Secret Life of Cats. And we were just literally cats in a cat cafe, and shenanigans happened. I like a system that'll allow you to do that.
Oh, speaking of cats, weren't you just on a podcast?
Yes.
The literal, like making a literal cat.
Yes. How to make a literal cat, which is such a fun idea for a podcast.
It really is, and I desperately want to reach out to them and be like, hey, would you also like to come on the podcast? Because I just want to know how we got to that point. And it's nothing more than I just want to know how to make an actual cat.
Oh, it's great. It's a fun way to explore a system because there's rules. Like their first rule is it has to be an actual cat. So if the system doesn't let you be an actual cat, you've already kind of you've lost a point. Because I was doing vampire and I'm like, okay, here's the thing. You kind of can't be a cat. You can be a ghoul. You can ghoul a cat, but a cat can't be a kindred. So,
no.
But besides that, then you just push through. But say you could, and that was a blast.
Oh man, I don't even know. I don't even know what system I would pick to even make an actual cat.
Yeah, it is. It was such a fun way to be like, it's like flipping a system that and go, okay. All right, how flexible is this? What can I do? If I can't do that, can I do this? And yeah, we came up with a Brujah biker gang leader named Brother Billy, who is a gray tabby, but he wears a leather jacket and has a pompadour. And I never would have come up we never would have explored this if we weren't how do we make a cat?
Right.
Yeah, and he's on a revenge mission.
He's on a revenge mission.
Yeah,
that's my favorite kind of character. On a revenge
this is great.
mission.
And they're all the rest of the vampires are human vampires, and then they follow this cat.
It's beautiful.
I was like, this is great. Yeah. I was like, someone make a movie.
I would absolutely listen to a Eric and Zelda buddy cop movie.
Just Zelda going, okay, Eric, but I think we're the good guys. I don't think we're supposed to take this stuff. And Eric would be like, hey, if they didn't want it taken, it wouldn't just be out. Okay.
Oh man, it would be
semi-reformed, huh? Heavy on the semi.
Well, have you tried any other forms of role playing? I'm a big MMO role player, and this is more than just playing World of Warcraft or something like that. People actually tell narrative stories using World of Warcraft, in game and stuff like that. Have you tried anything like that?
No. I mean, I did have my Warcraft period, and I could definitely see other folks role playing at the time. I don't know. I don't think I was ready for that. Again, I think that was a little earlier than thinking that I could be good at it. So yeah, this is really kind of my first chunk. Oddly enough, I went to a arts high school, so I was around a lot of acting. But I think I think like that was a particular kind of acting, and it kind of put in my head, that's great for them. That'll never be me. What, full body on a stage? What? But I think,
No, not for
yeah,
you, huh?
not for me, or at least that I didn't have the confidence for that. But I like this. I realized, oh, but part of me does want something like that.
Hmm.
You know,
What about LARPing or cosplay? Have you tried
Uh,
anything like that?
I have not LARPed, but I have like I think I've done. Okay, well, this is perfect timing. I guess you'd include this cosplay. Last night,
Hmm.
I'm part of a film festival, and we were partnering to show a 35 millimeter print of Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, and it was at our
Oh,
local art house theater, and it's we partner with Fright Rags, which is like a horror T-shirt company, and they show like classic movies on 35 if they can. And so when we partner with them, we decorate the lobby because we can't be stopped, and we're all extra people. And I decided to go a step further, and I did a look based on one of the Cloud and Shorty.
hmm.
So I had like a dress with stars with crinoline. I had a wig with a giant bow. I did up makeup. I have the cotton candy cocoon gun that they sold from Spirit, and I was just a clown the entire night, including
I
the Q&A I did afterwards in full clown makeup.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So
That's
yeah,
the sort of stuff I live for. I actually just started to look into getting into theater and
Mm.
filmmaking myself,
Oh, nice.
and so that so I could just be a part of the community and part of
Yeah.
things like this.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah. It's so weird. Like all of a sudden, wow, I really want to do this. It was a little later in my life than I was expecting, but
Hmm.
damn it, there's opportunities, and I want to go be a part. I want to go do something and make something and share something, which is I think is the basics of
Yeah.
this. You know?
Yeah, same thing. It's like I just want to, yeah, like exactly like you said. I just want to go out. I want to be there. I just want to
Yeah.
help out and just learn.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. I just have a moment where I'm like, I am dressed as a clown.
Oh, speaking of clowns, do you remember this? Okay, this is really weird. Do you remember the clown demic like a few years back when
Oh,
people were
oh
just
yeah,
seeing up as
where there were
I
just clown shows.
showing up ever? I shit you not. I kid you not. This is 100% truth. I was just at home one day and I go out to check the mail and there is a clown costume in my fucking mailbox.
Oh, oh no, they wanted you to join them.
I know, and I was like, do I do this? Do I become a part of the
Yeah.
problem and thrive in it? Or do I burn this thing?
I kind of love sometimes when like just like everybody in an area just decides that like this is what we're doing now. Like it's
Mhm.
like a little joke or visual. It's a in life meme. It's an in real
Yes.
life meme where it just kind of and like ones that are like there's okay, the clowns are a little creepy, and I'm sure some people took it too far. But I think
Mhm.
other people were just like, huh, yeah, let me do it. The world's weird anyway. Let me add to that, but in a safe way, like a safe weirdness.
Right. I would love to do like of course I don't want to ever hurt anybody or like that,
Yeah,
but I like being weird with other
yeah,
people.
yeah. No, exactly. It kind of reminds me of like this summer we had Barbenheimer. Like
Mhm.
Barbie and Oppenheimer. That's just a thing that just like sprung out. They tried to merchandise, like kind of like later. I think the studios tried to like make money off it, but it was just we all decided to be weird about a thing for a summer.
Right.
And
Yes,
isn't
I
it
love that.
joyful? Like we're gonna go to the theater and see two wildly different films, but make an experience out of it. We're gonna dress up. That's like I think that's like a human desire to like, hey, let's have fun together.
Maybe I think that's the reason why I like to cosplay as
Mm,
like I really want to cosplay as well is because I just want to go be weird with other human
yeah,
beings. What's so bad about just being
yeah.
weird?
Yeah, that was I find that it's helpful because like I'm definitely an introvert, but I'm
Mhm.
absolutely an extroverted introvert in that when I'm in my element, try to stop me, right? And
Mhm.
like say being dressed as a clown or anything else like during say the film festival where I'm on, I like that. That's like like putting on a suit and
Mhm.
getting to be a certain version of myself. But I know like I can always take it off and then just go be in my room and be quiet for a day.
For the rest of
It's
the day,
yeah,
yeah.
it's amazing. It's the perfect thing for me. I'm like, hi, I'm on now. You can tell I have makeup on, and then I'm gonna go hide for a bit and recharge. And it's that's what I need to do.
Mhm. How often do you find yourself having to recharge from role playing? Because as I've
Mm,
gotten older,
mm,
I've noticed that like I still love to role play. I love
mm,
being a part of the community. I love the whole act of narrative storytelling and everything like that. But I feel like as I get older, there are more and more times where I'm like, I need to take a step back and just breathe for a little bit.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, listen, I think even just I think everybody, if you're doing this, you've got to be aware of like where your limit is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I think sometimes we can all start be having fun and we push through it and then we get tired. Because even if, you know, well, of course there's bleed where like you feel your character's emotions, but even if it doesn't go that far, you're still engaging in something. And
Mm-hmm.
like for me, I'm definitely someone who like after I do something podcast, I need a little less time, but if I'm streaming, so if I'm on camera, I'll need the rest of that day or night just to be
Mm-hmm.
quiet. Not
Mm-hmm.
even like I'm wrecked. It's just like I've expended all my active energy and I was happy to do so. I like to do that. That is a, you know, a safe place for me to do that. But then I was like, I just need to be quiet. I need to recharge and I need to process. I'm someone who like needs to process at the end of something. Like, oh, that was interesting. I gotta be quiet and think about it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is so important for everybody to know where that is because that's different for everybody. Because my big thing is like, you know, I like maybe a year ago started doing less stuff because as much as I want to play every game with every person, I
Right.
could feel burnout coming. And the thing with burnout is once that happens, it's like a chemical reaction. I
And
always say
yeah.
it's like if you when you strike a match, you can't strike that match again. You have to either go buy more matches or make one, and who knows how long that's going to take. And that's the thing with burnout. Like, eventually you could come back, but you can't force it. That's your body going, you're done. I'm taking
Yeah.
over now, and you don't know how long it's going to last. So I'm always like, if you can, step back, even step back farther than you think you need to, because you can build back slowly. But once you burn out, that's, you know, that's
You're
rough.
done. Yeah, you're
You're
done for
done.
a little while.
Yeah, yeah. So that was me. That was me realizing like shit. Sorry. As much as I want to do more stuff, I won't be able to do anything if I burn out.
Right. And I
And I
agree
think that's
because
connected to my introvertness. Like, you know, I only have so much energy every day.
yeah, no, I get it. Actually, I was just talking to somebody not too long ago who loves role playing, but also has time. Like, she needs to be able to be like, "Hey guys, I love y'all so much, but peace out. I'm done."
Yeah.
Which is totally understandable. Again, everybody, take care of your health before
Yeah.
you do anything else. Your health is much more important than talking about how you want to rob a bank.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I find the other thing, so what I focus a lot on is because when I like promise to do something, right? Like when I agree to do a thing, I'm very serious about it. Like for me, I feel like I don't like disappointing people.
Mm-hmm.
So I really I take an extra second and go, can you really do this? Like, what's the scope of what, like, is this like a mini series? Is it a one shot? Is it like something long term? Like, don't answer like when you're feeling great. I like, okay, but what about like my bad days? Could I still do this? And then I have
Mm-hmm.
to be very honest with myself because I've had to say no to a couple things because I'm like, nah, you might be able to do a couple episodes and then
You're gonna
you're gonna
burn out.
fade, and that's not
Yeah.
fair to other people. So that's also I figure like pre-think it out, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because we're all God, we all want to do everything, but
Oh, I
it's
know.
still good to do something than nothing, you
Oh
know.
yeah. I'm the same
So
way with projects as well, where I
mm,
like I have to force myself to take on only like 5 projects at a time,
yeah.
because if I take on more than 5 at a time, I will blow up and then I'll not get anything done. And so far, I think that I'm doing very well with that.
Oh, beautiful. That is great to hear. That is all knowing yourself and just like taking a breath
Yeah, yeah.
before agreeing to stuff. It's tough though. It's tough. It's a thing you got to like learn about yourself. No one
Hmm.
can tell you what your limit is. Only you know what your limit is.
Yeah. Well, I think self awareness in role playing in general is
Mm.
also just like really important.
Oh, absolutely.
As not only as a player but like as a member of
Mm.
a community. Because
Yeah.
when you're role playing, it's not just you; it's a group of
Mm.
people,
Hmm.
and you know you kind of have to like be able to pull yourself back if you're going too far, or be able to like calm yourself down if you're going absolutely ballistic for some reason.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like well, first definitely a session zero, even with
Mm-hmm.
folks you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I think all of our lines and veils change.
Mm-hmm.
They can change, but also check in at regular intervals because those can change at any time or even just on a day of. You can be like, "Hey, normally I'm okay with this, but today
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling, you
Not
know, yeah.
super okay.
Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, that's all part of that communication. You know, I've seen it not work and I've seen it work very well. where, like if we listen to each other, we can make sure we're all still having a good time. Even if we're exploring like dark themes, there's a difference between exploring dark themes with people you trust with guidelines in place, or
Mm-hmm.
just like free falling, which I guess for some folks would work. But I just think you got to make sure everybody at that table is on the same page so you can then safely explore.
Right. And I agree with that because I don't get to do tabletops that much
Mm.
anymore. I wish I did. As people on this podcast have heard me say many and many times, I wish I had a lot more time for tabletops. But when I do get to play with players, yeah, I never really considered that, taking the time to double check
Mm.
the lines and veils. Like not double checking the lines and veils, but like updating lines
Yeah.
and veils.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely change. I found one mechanic that I've had a couple different groups use, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I'm forgetting the name, of course. It's like what is it? Something in stars. But basically, at the end of every session, you kind of go around, and this is like a positive version, like that focuses more on the positive part, where you go around and say like, hey, what's one thing that you like what somebody did, like some
Mm-hmm.
element they did, and then what's something you like that you did, and then you explain like what was something that you want to happen, which I think is such a great question when you're doing kind of long term or even a mini series. Is
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, what do you want to happen for your character? What are you aiming? And just keep checking in on that, like at the end of every session. I think that's a lovely positive focus. So
Mm-hmm.
everyone is kind of like, kind of getting what they need. Like,
Right.
why are you here? What do you want for your character? I think that's super important. I know the
Right.
few times I've GM'd, I want my players to feel great. I want them to have had a great time.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel the same way. Mostly, because I know a lot of I know there are GMs out there who just who feel like they don't need to not plan for anything. What is it? It's like just tell the story and
Mm,
and
mhm.
and be done with it. But I
Yeah.
feel it's so much more important. And as a DM, as someone who does like to DM, I I I feel it's much more important to be able to turn the story and drive it around the players as opposed
Mm.
to
Oh yeah.
just make the players drive through the story.
Oh, absolutely. I'm fully on board with that. I just feel like where do you all want to go?
Yeah.
But I think that's, again, I haven't done it a lot, but I think my style is definitely more of a I have an idea, but where we go with that idea, it's like everybody at the table is going to have a say because we're telling the story together. And
Hmm.
literally that makes it easier. I'm like, guess what? I
Yes.
don't have to have the answer to all of this.
Yes,
Y'all
I
have the answer.
know.
Yeah.
God, I like I love what I really okay. Yes, I want to make this story easier. For I mean, I want to make this story better for everybody. But also, I'm incredibly lazy
Yeah.
sometimes, and I want to just be able to spit out the story
Yeah.
and everyone being able to drive it. It's just so much
Oh
easier.
yeah. One of my favorite moments is when I've been, a player, and literally like the DMGM is like, "Hey, what does this look like?" Or this
Hmm.
place we're going to, or what is it? Who's this person we're meeting? You know them. I'm like, oh, because then I feel way more engaged. I'm like, we are
Hmm.
telling this story together. It doesn't have to happen all the time, but it feels like a gift. It's an invitation. Like, oh no, this is you build this part. You build this part. Like
Hmm.
we for $2 creature feature, we built Jupiter Hollow together.
Oh,
Like
really? I
that,
did not know that.
yeah, that town, we all kind of added elements to it, and then we all brought in NPCs.
Hmm.
Like Laura brought in Jackson. What a gift!
Oh yes, I've said this many times, but when the season finale came around of $2 creature
Mm.
feature, links below, go listen to it, please, for the love of God, go listen to it, everybody. I was like, if anything happens, I think we went to y'all's Discord and said this too. I was like, if anything happens to Jackson, I'm gonna be so upset, I'm gonna riot.
Yeah, I think we all are like, whatever happens, Jackson has to be okay.
Jackson has
Yeah.
got to be okay. This is non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. And like I created Zelda's family, which started just as some names. I came
Mm-hmm.
up with like, okay, she has a mom, a dad, and twin sisters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what was great about that is then we kind of all evolved those together. In fact, we did a one shot where we played the Wardwells. So I played her mom, Hilda, and Ray played Wyatt, the dad, and then Nye was Rosa, and Laura was Clara. And
Mm-hmm.
I got such like actually like it filled out Zelda's family for me. And then we
Mhm.
kind of took that for the rest of $2 Creature Feature. Like,
Mhm.
we all knew these characters now because we'd been them. Like, that's why one of her sisters is kind of goth and one's an influencer. That was all Nye and Laura.
That's awesome. I did not know anything about this.
Oh yeah, so that was perfect. So that way, like when they showed up at the end, like we could instantly snap into them, you know,
Mhm.
like and that was lovely because again, that was Zelda was always eventually going to like kind of make up with her family. That was important for me. Is that I was like, oh no, they're not a bad family. Just no one knew how to handle this. No one knew how to handle Zelda not being a chosen one, you know.
Right,
So
yeah, because
always
it's
yeah.
no, you go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, but like always eventually I was like, no, they're gonna figure it out. They all just needed time and space to figure this out, you know? So it was
Mhm.
so lovely that it wasn't just me telling that part of the story. It was all of us.
That's awesome, because
Yeah.
I like, now that you mention it, this is again, I'm learning so much today, because, like, this is something else I never really considered, is that, like, when you're doing a tabletop, it was really cool to do, like, a one-shot focus on
Mm,
each of the characters,
yeah.
and that will really help, like, flesh out the characters even more. Ah, that's such a smart idea. You guys are clever cookies.
I've always liked when like an actual play when they do epilogues
Uh-huh.
focusing on one or two characters because I always thought that's a nice way to kind of either finish up the story or at least that season, you
Mhm.
know, where you just kind of have a focus on each character because like sometimes when you have a whole cast like some characters are going to have more time than others in different stories. That's just
Right.
going to happen. But I love being able to, but we are purposely putting the focus on each of these characters to see where they are now and what they want. And plus it's cinematic epilogue.
Mhm.
You know,
Epilogue.
I'm a big fan of stuff like that. So like a one
Mhm.
shot based on a character. Give
Right.
everyone a little bit of space.
Y'all did fantastic.
Oh.
Y'all did so great. I'm still just gushing about it.
Aw.
Again, everybody listening, if y'all have not listened to $2 Creature Feature, please go listen to $2 Creature Feature and give them all your love and support from me, please and thank you.
Oh, hey, it's truly one of the things, like one of the like TTRPG things I'm most proud of. You
Mhm.
know, like I was like, damn, we told a whole story with characters and everything, and it
I
went in a place I
know.
didn't expect. Considering our characters aren't all in the same place till like the third or fourth episode.
Mhm.
And that wasn't planned. That just kind of happened. We did not create our characters to like we didn't go like, okay, then my character will do this for your character. We all create our characters separately
Mhm.
and then just kind of threw them into this world, which is great because that way you get an opening episode where literally Eric steals from Zelda after she's been bitten by a basilisk. And then you're like, how are these characters going to come together
The
and
other
help save a town?
I was actually thinking that a lot. I was like, are they planning this? Like, what is happening? What's going
Oh,
on?
oh no.
Is Nye trying to secretly kill everybody? What's happening?
Like my mouth dropped, but like in a good way because I thought, what a great move. Because I
Right.
really liked the idea of like, no, let's be our characters for a bit and let's find a organic way for them to be together. And I think it worked out where like Zelda was hanging out with Tammy Joe at first because she was suspicious of her. She's like, something's wrong here. And she was with Eric. She's like, stay away from that guy. She had her whole conspiracy board where she had notes. And her first notes were literally about Eric and Tammy Joe.
Yeah, I know.
And
Before
yeah,
the screaming ghost showed up, before anything else
anything.
happened, it was
Yeah.
all about those two.
That was Zelda's biggest problem were the people who'd become her best friends, you know? But I like that. I like being able to like figure out because part of all these character stories is finding like their better angels,
Mm-hmm.
and figuring that out. And I was like, oh no, Zelda's the only one in the beginning who actually wants to help people. How's that gonna work out?
And oh god, like, I can't wait to talk to Nye about this. But when Eric was like, lured Zelda into the
Oh
hotel,
my
I
god.
was like, no, 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 please don't do this to me.
I would tell you the trust we had built up there. I
Mm-hmm.
literally told Nye, like, I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take this as far as you can. Like, don't worry about that. I trust you as a player
Mm-hmm.
to like you're not gonna one shot Zelda off because then the show ends.
Right.
But I was like, you do what you want to do. Like, let's make this like be suspenseful. Like and it really I think it was a great way to explore Eric. Like, how far would Eric take this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we got to explore like at his core, Eric is not the person he thinks he is.
Right.
And I thought that was such a great moment for him. And I was like, you do what you have to do. I trust you. I know you're not gonna like permanently ruin Zelda. So I'll play along. Let's see where this goes. I want him to know that I felt safe.
Right, and I think it's important for players to be able to like express that trust with each other
Yeah.
for like character development, and I think that would lead to just like stronger bonds, not only between
Mm,
friends, but like not only between characters, but between friends in reality as well. It's like I understand that you're doing this for the narrative story, and if
mm.
you and I trust that you're not going to kill me, please.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly, exactly. And that was just so important for like Eric and Zelda's relationship. Like it was after that when Zelda's like, "Oh, he saved me," and she knows the danger he put himself in. Like that changed like fundamentally how Zelda saw Eric.
Mm-hmm.
That she could be disappointed in him still, but not at that level of suspicion in the beginning because she knows he made that choice. When she says you have a choice, he made that choice. He's capable of that choice. I love that. That was like that first, it was episode like 10, 11, and 12, like that
Mm-hmm.
part. That was
Mm-hmm.
when I was like, oh my God, we're doing something special. I think that was about the time where I'm like, this is something special.
This is great.
Yeah, this was great. Like intensity.
Oh
Uh,
god, I bet I always dream of having that
mm.
moment with people.
Oh yeah, I think probably matched by the Arnold friend reveal.
Oh man, what a good
Oh,
reveal.
oh my God, we were all like, "What?" the
And
whole time,
yeah, the whole time, yeah,
Ray.
but Ray is like such a he's also just such a good DM, a good
Mm.
I'm sorry, keeper is it for
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so. I'm always like, I use the words interchangeably because they all basically mean the same thing.
same thing, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm the same. I pretty much do the same thing. DM, GM, keeper,
storyteller.
storyteller,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
We know what you're here for.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, no, Ray played that wonderfully. I like to think so. I mean, this is always different where every group where you're
Mhm.
at with this, but
Mhm.
I definitely am someone who mostly believes that like surprises are for the audience, not the player.
Right.
But if you set things up enough and have explained enough what our limits are and what we don't want to happen, we can still get surprised by like as players, we can still have a bit of a oh my god if
Moment,
played
yeah.
right, and that is all trust.
Mhm.
That is all trust. Like I didn't feel betrayed in that moment because we had set stuff up and that was and nothing that we were like, holy crap, that would just mess me up, right? So
Mhm.
that was just a perfectly played where you as a players were like, what? But in a good way. It was a
Good.
like at least for me, that was a good surprise. Of course, then again, my character was not face to face with a friend at the moment.
Yeah, that's
Laura
true
played
too.
that so well.
Ah,
Uh
she did. She
like,
did.
like Tammy, I keep saying like, who's my favorite character, and I always bounce in between because I'm like, oh my god, just Eric is such a great like study in finding your own worth, right?
Mhm.
But then, like, I think Tammy is such a good study, like, and just like Tammy never needed a friend to begin with. Like, literally, she's Dorothy. The power was in her the whole time. But like, what a great way to explore that, you know? Like, I
Mhm.
think Tammy Joe the mundane is scarier. And I thought that was just we told that story really well, and Laura just nailed that, and I nailed that.
Mhm. And that's not to so everything that we've been talking about, that's not to say that like you have to have a perfect experience with role
No,
playing
oh
all
no,
the
no.
time because like unfortunately like no matter what you might hear from actual play podcasts or what you might hear what that from what Megan and I are talking about, there are like the perfect group
Mm,
is very rare,
mm.
and even the perfect group comes with like a lot of work and understanding and trust and learning.
Oh, absolutely. I like to think that like okay, so there's the one level where hey, you are actively not having a good time. So I'm
Right.
not talking about that. If you're actively not having a good time, you know what? Walk away because like no one's paying their bills with this.
Mm-hmm.
I always go back to so you do not have to. Like you do
Right.
not have to put yourself in a situation that you're uncomfortable with, right? But
Right.
there's also the ones where like I think I always learn and enjoy from any sort of TTRPG experience I have. Again, barring something where I'm like, "Oh no, I'm leaving." barring that, there's times I'm like, yeah, no, it's not super smooth, or we're still figuring out the rules, or like I don't know if I get this, but I still like, I'm learning and I'm having a good time, and there's always a couple moments that I'm like, oh, that worked out really well. Plus, I put a lot of ideas I put them in I call them in my idea hopper.
Your
Like,
idea
hey, what if,
hopper?
yeah, like what if I create a character for a one shot and I'm never going to play them again and I like them, but I'm like, I like the shape of them. I put it in my hopper, and then
Mm-hmm.
later on a version of that character might show up somewhere else, refined and changed.
I
That wasn't
have
a waste of time. That was me figuring stuff out with other people.
right. I have to ask though, is this like a physical folder,
Oh,
a literal hopper?
gosh, I wish I was that like planned out. It's literally just there's certain ideas that just won't leave your brain. That just kind
That's
of
fair.
tumble around like rocks getting polished.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I just wanted to make sure we weren't talking about like a physical hopper
Oh no,
here
I
for a second.
got you. I have to get one, and I'll just like pop little idea rocks and stuff. Oh no, because I'm in a one shot. Again, we're going back to vampire, the source of it all,
Uh
where
huh.
I played this like Nosferatu who had like spiders that lived with her,
Uh huh.
and I love that idea so much. But it was like a one shot, right? I'm like, oh
Hmm.
damn it! But then later on, I ended up kind of getting cast into like a longer term one, and I'm like, I'm gonna bring her back and just do a little changing so she fits the story, because it was too fun of an idea just to leave.
Sorry, my son needed me for a quick
Oh
second.
no problem. You do what you got to do.
Nah, he. I give him vitamin gummies in the morning,
Ah,
and I forgot to give him one this morning, and
oh damn.
he's reminding me
Yeah.
wholeheartedly that I have forgotten. So I will get you one as soon as I get done with this, but I don't have much luck. Ah, there he goes. You hear him in the background?
Oh, no. If you need to, we can take a quick break.
Hold on 1 second. All right, buddy, here. It's right here. I keep them right here. I need to just hand him
Awesome.
one. Here.
I got it. Hey!
I'm handing it to you.
I was going to just do that.
Okay.
I was going to find my phone.
Well, unfortunately these things are baby proof, so that's what you are, baby.
Oh no.
No, I'm not.
No.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
That's and I love role playing so much, but I love being a parent.
I mean, that feels like the right priorities. That's a good thing to hear.
Mhm.
Like,
I
yeah.
yeah, I will. Like I know I get on here and I rant and rave about how great role playing is, but no matter what, at the end of the day, I love being a parent much more than I love anything else.
Hell yeah. Well, I think that is a good thing to bring up when we're talking about like the TTRPG space. Is it's fun and it's fantastic and it's great, but like, please don't forget to check in your flesh life. As I'll
Right?
call it,
Yeah.
like that if you have that balance, you can play like. I find it helps me, like if
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking care of what I need to take care of in like quote the real world, I
Mm-hmm.
know I have that space. Like it just fits in nicely. It's not everything. It doesn't overwhelm stuff. The TTRPG is in that chunk where I have that ability to do it, but also like I have my life. Like, it's about
Mm-hmm.
balance. I guess it comes down to.
No, it really is.
Yeah.
It is all about balance because that is something like I talk to my friends a lot about, or like if I notice someone is spending just so much time role playing, like I always check in on them and make sure that they're
No,
doing okay, because like especially with the difference between MMO and tabletop role playing is that with MMO role playing you can find yourself a role playing group
Mm.
within like a matter of moments if
Yeah.
you're really dedicated, and it is so easy to be like, okay, I'm awake, time to get on, time to start doing role playing. All right, it's nighttime, time to go to bed, time to go to work, time to get up, time to get start on role playing again, or
Yep.
see if you can find something. And like I've talked to so many people who just, we were talking about burnout earlier, like getting addicted to role playing is it is something that I don't want people to ever take lightly. Like it's so easy to get yourself locked in this world of fantasy and where everything feels so much better than it does in the real world.
Oh yeah. I'm so glad to hear that you check in on folks, because I do think that it's something to escape into, but
Mm-hmm.
in the end, it's not providing like what you need on a day-to-day basis to live. It's giving you
Right.
like a serotonin boost, and that's important. But like in the end, like, telling a story in fantasy longer than you're telling your story in reality,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to catch up with you. And like you deserve your real life. And sometimes you
Yes.
have to put, and also sometimes you have to put that work into your real life. Yeah, it is harder. It's always harder. It's
Mm.
easier to be exactly who you want to be online because you are only online when you feel like being that person. Whereas you have to be you all the time. And
Right.
that's rough. But yeah,
Well, that.
I do think it's so easy to lose yourself. And whether you're doing it purposefully or not,
Mhm.
you know?
And this is really important because we're talking about like how great role playing is and how
Mm,
great, how wonderful it is to sit down with friends or to be able
yeah,
to tell a story. Everything comes with everything in moderation, right? Like
yeah,
you need to
absolutely.
make sure that you're taking care of yourself emotionally, physically,
Hmm.
mentally,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
please.
Yeah. I feel like I've been doing this long enough that I've absolutely seen folks go through that cycle of like just jumping into every game and then just hitting a wall. And as I said before, you don't get to decide when that wall is, where it is, how hard you're going to hit it. That backup system, your backup system's going to go, nope, you're done. And then you don't, yeah, and then you don't have it for a while because your body's like, no, I will tell you when you're ready, and you will not know. So yeah, I know if one thing to come out of this is just take a breath and know yourself. Know yourself truly, and e- everything in like moderation. And I feel like equal, like and whatever equal is for you. Make sure all the parts of your life that you need to be, weighing and measuring. It's all like equaling out. And you always got to go and check. Like it's never going to be the same mix. Sometimes you're going to play more. Sometimes you got to work more. Sometimes you got family more. Sometimes you're sick. And that's always going to be changing. And just take that breath. Take a second, breathe in, breathe out, and go, what can I actually do right now? What should I be doing? What would take care of me the most?
Well, with that said, we're getting close to our hour mark,
Oh,
and as much as I don't want to stop this conversation, I'm gonna have to stop this conversation.
that is okay. Everybody take care of yourself. That's the important thing.
Yeah, I was right about to ask. Like, I always like to ask, like,
Oh,
for the end questions, like, do you have any advice for role players out there?
oh yeah, that's it. Okay, so mainly take care of yourself. This is supposed to be a thing that, feeds you in a particular way, you know? So if it's not feeding you in the way you need, you can stop. You can change groups. You can change systems. You can take a break. Say, take a break for a month or two, reevaluate. Those are all options. You are never tied into this. It will always still be here. So, engage with role play how you need to and make sure you know how you need to.
Yes, absolutely. That is great advice. Thank you so much, Megan.
Oh, thank you. I get to talk about stuff I've been thinking a lot about the last couple of years, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to do this is because I know that we all have like a lot to say, but it's so weird that we don't talk about this hobby that much. It's
Yeah.
so I don't understand. Like role players are not only one of the most widespread like one of the most widespread communities
Mm.
out there, but it's so like I don't know how to describe it. It's like having a country of shut-ins.
Yeah, I think it is partly is this version of it. Like there's been role playing for decades and decades, but this
Mhm.
online public version is
Mhm.
still pretty young. I think we're still figuring out this version of it. So
That's
something like
true.
this podcast is fantastic because it's the beginning of like seeing it from the outside, the inside and the outside, which is fantastic. Kind of breaking it down a bit and discussing all the pieces.
You heard it here. Megan likes my podcast, and
Hell
I'm
yeah!
going to leave it on that.
Hey! I
Oh,
will
thank
promote
you.
a podcast on that very podcast.
I appreciate you so much, Megan. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This is lovely.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I really do appreciate y'all, and happy holidays wherever you are. Ugh, sorry, excuse me. I've woken up at 5 in the morning to do this, and my voice is all sorts of messed up. Anyways, I really do appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful holiday, and I will see you Monday morning. Bye.